Yeah. Clickbaity title, I know. But that is his name. I quite like the Batman universe. I have a lot of the comics, I love the animated shows and movies, but I have a confession to make. I think Bruce is kind of an asshole. And when it comes to the large arsenal of characters that this universe offers, I have a very clear favorite. It's not one of the supervillains, it's definitely not Superman, it's not even Renee Montoya. No. The next, however many minutes, is gonna be me explaining to you why I really love Dick. What to expect. This video will be split into two sets of arguments. One is giving all the reasons why I think Dick is the greatest guy, and the other is giving all the reasons why I think Bruce is a knucklehead. So I will cover their respective personalities and behaviors and significant elements of their backstories. I will talk about their relationship to not only each other, but also their family and romantic interests. With Bruce, we will talk about the other Robins that succeeded Dick, Jason Todd and Tim Drake, and the guy who succeeded Bruce himself, Terry McGinnis. This is done in an effort to show that Bruce has a pattern of treating people poorly and that he rarely learns from his mistakes. With Dick, I will track his development leading up to his eventual departure. This is done in an effort to show that he is a genuinely nice guy and that he is capable of learning from his mistakes. Finally, I will go over the things that makes them different, and I will try to argue why I think Dick is the superior guy. Choice of material. In case you're unfamiliar with the comics and the animated world, it's important that you know that there exist many different worlds within the Batman universe. They each have different timelines that all affect both character and story. Batman acts and looks different in each, and he even has different backstories. For that reason, I will try to stick with the animated series and its related productions as much as possible. So we will be looking at the animated series quite a lot, but also the following movies: Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, The Mask of the Phantasm, Batman and Mr. Freeze: Sub-Zero, Batman and Harley Quinn, and Under the Red Hood. Richard Grayson. Dick is a recurrent character in the animated series and a regular partner to Bruce. He is the first Robin and arguably the most well-known. In this version of the story, Bruce witnesses the homicide of Dick's parents in the circus, and he offers to take Dick in and eventually adopts him. Dick soon finds out about Bruce's nighttime hobby and he starts training him from an early age. When the show starts, Dick is in college and thus must be a young adult around 18 or 19. When the show ends, Dick has already graduated college and thus must be a couple of years older. In the second episode of the first season, we get a good idea of what kind of guy he is. And the first thing I want to call attention to here is attitude. It's Christmas and Dick just wants to enjoy the holiday with Bruce, watching Christmas movies and having a jolly old time. But Bruce is, of course, being a big Scrooge.
Bah, humbug.
Dick has a very positive attitude and Bruce has a very negative one.
Okay, I'll make a deal with you. If we go out on patrol and Gotham is quiet with no sign of the Joker, we come back here, have Christmas dinner, and watch It's a Wonderful Life.
You know, I've never seen that. I could never get past the title.
Bruce is skeptical that all is peaceful and joyful, and when it turns out that Bruce was right and the Joker was having big plans, it's framed as a haha. See, Bruce was right in being negative. But Dick is not unprepared to put on the costume just because he was set on having a good Christmas. He jumps up and gets going, just like Bruce. Furthermore, Dick is not too proud to admit that Bruce was right in suspecting that something was amiss.
Well, Batman, you were sure right about the Joker. Any leads?
I've accessed Gotham's electrical mainframe, and I'm zeroing in on the power surges to pinpoint the location of Joker's broadcast signal. That's it.
I want to point out a pattern that we will see again here, where Bruce takes the dangerous stuff for himself and leaves Dick to do the less dangerous stuff, and as we will see, quite often the stuff that involves the victims.
Try and get inside the observatory. I'll draw its fire.
And it's not because Dick is less capable, he easily maneuvers past Joker's traps. And when they meet up again, the first thing Dick asks is if Bruce is okay.
Batman?
I'm fine.
But does Bruce ask if Dick is okay? No, of course not.
Of course not. Don't be ridiculous.
Bruce also keeps barking instructions at Dick that he clearly does not need, and Dick manages to do his work and have fun at the same time. They save the day and go back to celebrating Christmas with Bruce reluctantly enjoying himself.
It was nice of Commissioner Gordon to give you that recording of It's a Wonderful Life.
And it is a wonderful life.
It has its moments.
The next thing I want to talk about is weakness, or rather, perceived weakness. We see Dick at college, and we see that he's good friends with his roommate and that he is a supportive friend.
Sounds like it's off to the pros for you, roommate.
Maybe, but he's right. The scouts will be watching me real close against Tech.
Oh, no sweat. You'll dazzle them.
When the friend who's an acclaimed athlete gets dosed with fear toxin, Dick immediately goes to help him. I need a hero! Bruce and Dick find out that someone is targeting athletes and dosing them. As Dick himself gets dosed, while he and Bruce are on patrol, it puts Bruce in danger. And afterwards, that is what bothers Dick.
I still can't believe it. I could have gotten you killed.
Bruce, on the other hand, just tells him to
Pull yourself together.
despite knowing that he got dosed with fear toxin, because Bruce is a git. Bruce then further cements his own scumminess by testing the fear toxin on a cat. On a cat.
Just as I thought.
They go to see Scarecrow in Arkham, but they are refused entry by a corrupt guard.
This is for Jonathan Crane.
I got it.
Has Professor Crane lost his appetite?
You're not supposed to be here.
But the Scarecrow is.
He's in a cell.
Steady, Dick. Steady, Dick.
And when Dick tries to talk to Bruce about his fears, Bruce dismisses him. Again.
I learned to walk on a high wire. Now I can't stand on a step stool without freaking. I'm no good to you anymore.
Easy, Dick. It's bound to wear off. But in the meantime, you've got to fight it.
And I'm sorry, why are you still forcing Dick to work when you know he's still dosed? Why not give him, sick leave? Anyway, Scarecrow is targeting successful athletes so he can bet against them and make money. His next target is a big football game, and Bruce forces Dick to come with him despite the fact that Dick tries to tell him that he won't be any help.
I'll only get in the way.
You can be my extra set of eyes. Get in. I'll drive real slow.
Dick does manage to stop Scarecrow's plans and they save the day, yada yada yada. There's a point here I find it important to point out. Doing something when you're terrified is much more impressive than not being scared in the first place. At the end of the episode, Dick gets a tiny little bit of appreciation. Tiny little bit.
Good work, Robin.
Now, as you might be able to tell by now, one of my main points of this video is to show that these are two guys who have very different approaches to the same situation. They do the same thing, deal with the same challenges, know the same people and have the same lifestyle, but they deal with it very differently. And as we will see, their backgrounds are very similar as well. So now we need to look at the trauma that Dick went through. Trauma. Bruce and Dick are on a stakeout.
If I knew it was gonna take this long, I would have brought my homework.
Because he's a good boy. When they get into action, Dick is again a good fighter, but still manages to be sassy and have fun.
All right.
These are contract saboteurs, Robin. Let's take it by the numbers. Nice and easy.
Yeah, time to kick some butt.
Good thing we had that little chat.
Bruce finds out that the guy the crooks are working for, Billy Marin, is actually Tony Sugo. And Sugo is the guy who caused the death of Dick's parents.
Sake! Aha! Ah, it's Marin! Billy Marin!
Marin.
Bruce, of course, keeps this a secret from Dick, and he justifies it to himself as protecting Dick. When Dick messes up, he again shows that he isn't proud, and he quickly apologizes to Bruce, probably because he's used to being criticized a lot.
If it's because I jumped the gun back there, I'm sorry.
It's something I have to do alone.
Bruce pushes him away, and we see how much Dick just really wants Bruce's approval and appreciation, and to be treated like a partner and not a little kid.
He shuts me out, man. Treats me like a kid. I don't get it. Everything was going great until that Marin business came up. But who is he really? Tony Zuko. Oh my word. Finally.
In a flashback, we see how Dick lost his family. Dick was working in a circus in an act with his parents. They do impressive throws and catches on the trapeze. Criminal Tony Sugo is threatening the ringmaster of the circus that he has to pay protection money, but the ringmaster refuses. Even as a kid, Dick was intelligent and immediately sees through Sugo. But unfortunately too late, and the damage is done, and poor Dick loses his parents when Sugo goes through with his threat, causing Dick's parents to both have a lethal fall.
Oh no, there's Melanie. That's a shame, she was really nice.
Despite this horrible and traumatic experience, Dick is still open to the affection and care that this stranger, Bruce, offers him. Though we see that even back then, it hurt Dick's feelings when Bruce kept him at a distance.
He has a meeting every night. Who does he see?
Some of the most influential people in Gotham City.
Bruce is acting under the assumption that what Dick needs is for Zuko to be brought in, but what Dick needs is love. And as always, Alfred speaks the truth.
I'm sure revenge can be deliciously sweet. However, at the moment, he needs a friend. Isn't that what you needed, sir?
And it's not until Bruce sees that Dick blames himself that he understands what he needs. Back in present time, Dick finds out about Zuko and he asks Bruce to let him help him track down Zuko, but Bruce refuses. And it's actually this, Bruce pushing him away and keeping secrets, that sends Dick over the edge. His feelings are enhanced by the feeling of betrayal that Bruce kept it from him, which is a hell of a foreshadowing. In a flashback, we see Bruce and Dick training together. And just a side note, what the is this? The young Dick tries to track down Zuko, saves a lady from a crook in the process, and this actually leads him to Zuko. The confrontation, unsurprisingly, does not go well, but Bruce is there as Batman to save Dick.
Only place you're going is up the river, you.
Afterwards, he reveals his secret to Dick and offers him a permanent stay.
I take it Master Dick's visit will now be indefinite?
Back in present time, we see Dick going after Zuko. Dick figures out how to find Zuko without any help from Bruce. Bruce leaves on his own and promptly gets hurt. Well done, Brucey. We will see this pattern again. Again and again and again. The episode ends in what is nearly a full circle moment. Things culminate at a carnival, which is almost a circus. Dick, of course, does not go through with his revenge. He makes the right choices despite every opportunity to get revenge. It's also kind of telling that the thing that makes Dick show mercy is a reminder that Bruce and him actually share this trauma.
Stuff your advice, Batman. You and your stone-cold heart. You don't know how I feel. How could you?
Excuse me.
Batman, I didn't mean I'm sorry.
And thus, it's their connection that makes him do the right thing. It really bothers me that the story and Dick himself states that Bruce was right to keep Dick out of the investigation. But it is kind of hard to imagine that the show would acknowledge that their main hero is kind of a brat. Because Bruce is a blockhead. He is a blockhead that makes the same mistakes over and over again. Someone is robbing Wayne Enterprises and has been numerous times over a short period of time.
That's the 6th one in less than 2 weeks.
7th. Where, Alfred?
Please, Bruce, give him some approval and appreciation. I'm begging you. As Bruce finds a weapon on the crime scene that indicates that a ninja is behind the robberies, he's brought back to his days of training to become Batman. In a flashback, we learn that a young Bruce was obsessed with being a good fighter. The best.
I'm not good enough, Yoru-sensei. I lost.
Everyone loses now and again.
I have to be the best there is, no matter what it...
I wanna be the very best.
In present time, Bruce is attacked by the ninja who gets the upper hand and almost kills him. But of course, Dick saves him.
Listen, dipstick, Batman's my pal. He can be a major jerk, but you gotta love him.
And he gets exactly 0 thanks. Bruce identifies the ninja as someone he knows from his training days, another student who showed clear aggression and was always very competitive with Bruce, and he was eventually thrown out by their trainer.
I will take all that you hold dear, and then I will destroy you!
Bruce is scared but doesn't want to admit it, as opposed to Dick, who's not too proud to admit it when he's scared or when he makes mistakes. But Bruce...
You ever hear of somebody named Kyodai-ken?
Oh, indeed. He was the only student at the martial arts school who could consistently defeat Master Bruce. A bad egg, that one.
I think Bruce is worried he can't take this ninja. He won't admit it, of course.
He never admits fears, Master Dick. Haven't you learned that by now?
And once again, Bruce gets into trouble because he pushes people away. And once again, Dick comes to save him. And I want to point out that Dick is actually able to keep up with the ninja for a while. We also see Dick being extremely self-critical. Wonder why?
Way to go, Dick. Master crime fighter.
A reporter gets mixed into the whole thing, and when the ninja and Bruce have their final fight, Bruce is not in Batman costume, and he lets the ninja win as to not give away his secret in front of the reporter. Dick immediately figures out why Bruce is doing this, and he blinds the reporter so Bruce can fight without making anyone suspicious. Because he's so smart. In the end, Bruce finally gives Dick some love.
Thanks for your help. It would have been harder to defeat him with Summer watching. Maybe even impossible.
And just look how happy he is. But eventually Dick gets enough.
That's enough!
And he leaves the Robin costume behind for good. And it tells us a lot about who he is as a person, what actually makes him quit. Because as we've seen, Bruce does not exactly treat him with respect and kindness.
Pull yourself together. I'll drive real slow.
But that's not actually the reason Dick leaves. So now we need to talk about empathy and trust. No. So now we need to talk about empathy and trust. This episode is set when Dick is already Nightwing and Tim Drake is the new Robin. Tim is actually the 3rd Robin, but the 2nd Robin, Jason Todd, does not figure in the animated series. Probably because his story is pretty dark, as we will see. Tim is working and he gets into a bit of a pickle that Dick saves him from. At first, Dick is dismissive of Tim when he tries to learn why Bruce and Dick split, but when Tim points out that Dick is reminding him of Bruce, Dick responds with,
I'm nothing like him.
Yeah, right. The mask, the attitude, the long underwear.
And ends up telling the story.
It was building for a long time. I realize that now. It was never really right.
In a flashback, we see Dick graduating college. With highest honor, might I add. 'Cause like I said, he's smart.
So, Mr. Grayson, tell me, now that you're out of school, what will you do? Become another one of the idle rich?
But whatever my future holds, I hope it includes you. This isn't a great time.
I'm not making the schedule.
Right.
Dick really doesn't want to pick crime fighting over Barbara, but Bruce forces him. The Joker is doing a heist, and Dick and Bruce try to stop it. Again, we see Dick caring about the victims, in this case Bruce, when Bruce just wants to catch the Joker. The Joker does escape with most of his men. They run the guy down, and Bruce starts interrogating him. He does this in front of the guy's wife and kid, much to Dick's dismay. And this lack of empathy is the first big thing that causes Dick to leave.
I'm out of here now.
Upset, he goes to see Barbara, but he realizes that he can't actually tell her about it without revealing anything, and he leaves. Despite his anger, he stays loyal. Barbara is worried about Dick, and she goes to talk to Bruce. He then chooses to reveal both his and Dick's secret and show her the Batcave. Side note, this is probably one of my favorite Alfred moments.
Miss Gordon, I see you've discovered our little secret. Yes, I admit it. I am Batman.
He and Barbara then partners off and goes after the Joker. A little later, Dick arrives and he finds out about Barbara. In the confrontation with Joker, Barbara almost dies several times, saved by Dick and Bruce, respectively. Dick then finds out that Bruce knew about Barbara being Batgirl and that he never told him. This final betrayal is the final straw for Dick, and he very satisfyingly does this.
Robin, wait.
This lack of trust, which is a repeated pattern, is the second and final reason Dick has for leaving. Back in present time, Tim suggests that Dick forgive Bruce, and at first Dick is reluctant.
Whose is it?
I don't believe it.
Oh, thanks. But you almost gave me a heart attack. I thought you were the Batman.
No.
I ran up against him once. It was a real eye-opener. Forced me to get my life together. Now I've got this great job. Even Mr. Wayne knows me. Terrific guy. Never too busy to stop and ask how my boy's doing.
This small indicator that Bruce is capable of showing empathy and changing is what convinces Dick to reunite with him.
You coming?
I guess it's about time.
So what are the takeaways at this point? 1. Dick and Bruce's attitude and worldview are very different. 2. Dick and Bruce are similar in not only skill, but also history. Dick insists on having a social life. He falls in love, he gets friends, and he prioritizes his education. And he lets himself have fun when he's fighting criminals. He's also much more optimistic and empathetic. He doesn't always expect the worst to happen, and he sees the good in both people and in life. Dick is a competent fighter, a skilled athlete, an intelligent guy both logically and psychologically. And he also has a traumatic history very similar to Bruce, losing his parents in a violent and horrific way at the hands of a criminal. A key difference between them is their motivation to fight crime, and I will get back to that a little later. Now, like I said, there's a very clear pattern in how Bruce treats his apprentices. It's one of keeping them at a distance and infecting them with the high levels of perfectionism that he enforces on himself. He also keeps them at an emotional distance that damages his relationship to each of them. And here's the thing, it does not work to protect them in the way Bruce intends it to.
Well, that didn't work.
Let's talk about it. Bruce Wayne. Now, I have been arguing that Bruce does not learn his lessons, like, ever. And the example I've chosen to argue this is Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. In this universe, set many years after the first show, the new Batman is Terry McGinnis. A gang called the Jokers is trying to steal high-tech equipment, but Terry stops them. Back in the Batcave, we see an elderly Bruce.
Still got it.
You mean your ego?
I broke up the robbery, but it was weird. Third time this month that particular gang was trying to intercept high-tech machinery.
The Jokers return back to their leader, the freaking Joker, who does not look like he has aged a day. What is your skincare routine, buddy? The gang then attack a press conference where Bruce is announcing his return to Wayne Enterprises, almost as if he has a hard time relinquishing control.
You gonna be okay?
Go to work.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Hello, Gotham.
I also find this line very telling.
I messed up. I let the clown go in order to save those people.
You did the right thing.
This is the reaction Terry is expecting, and that says a lot. Terry does evidently not know much about the Joker, and when he fails to get Bruce to talk about him,
Shut up and drive.
he tries to get Barbara, the new commissioner, to tell him, but without luck. Bruce refuses to let Terry work on the case and possibly have a run-in with the Joker, and he ends up firing Terry. This leaves Terry free to spend time with his girlfriend, and prioritizing her and indeed his social life is a trait he shares with Dick.
So this is love.
The nightclub is attacked, however, and Terry is very plainly targeted. He gets the upper hand on the gang and he manages to save his girlfriend as well.
So this is love.
Meanwhile, the Joker has attacked Bruce with laugh gas, and Terry saves him just in the nick of time. Finally, Barbara tells him the story of the last confrontation with Joker. The Joker kidnapped and brainwashed Tim Drake, keeping him for 3 weeks. When Bruce and Barbara find them all in Arkham, Tim is acting and looking like a miniature Joker. Barbara runs up to fight Harley, who falls into a ravine and maybe dies.
Maybe I have.
Back with the Joker, he tosses a gun to Tim, ordering him to shoot Bruce. But Tim shoots the Joker instead, killing him.
Tim.
Do it!
In present time, Terry goes to see Tim, now an adult, and this is what he has to say about it.
It wasn't easy, but I managed to put it to bed and go on with my life. You'll have to do it yourself one day. We all did. We gave our best, but in the end, that wasn't good enough for the old man.
Terry then suspects Price, a guy who was skipped as next in line for CEO for Wayne Enterprises when Bruce came back. And he was indeed involved in the attempted murder on Bruce, but not involved in the return of the Joker. Terry suspects Tim, and though Bruce disagrees at first, they investigate.
Robin did shoot him.
A ghost out for revenge? I don't buy it. I talked to Drake. He's got less love for that costume than the Joker.
It turns out that the Joker implanted his own personality in Tim's brain way back when, as you do. Terry defeats the Joker using his own cleverness and help from Bruce by taunting him with the one thing that is truly Joker's weakness.
Et un peu de poivron grain?
No.
The real reason you kept coming back was you never got a laugh out of the old man.
I'm not hearing this.
Get a clue, Clowny. He's got no sense of humor. He wouldn't know a good joke if it bit him in the pig. Not that you ever had a good joke.
Shut up!
I mean, joy buzzers, squirting flowers, lame. Where's the A material? Make a face, drop your pants, something!
Show yourself!
You make me laugh. But only because I think you're kind of pathetic.
Stop that!
The movie ends with everyone swapping approval and compliments.
For what it's worth, Bruce couldn't have chosen anyone better to put on the mask.
Coming from you, that means everything.
Sometimes the important things go unsaid. If there's one thing I've learned, you've got to appreciate the people in your life while you have the chance.
Not everyone is capable of expressing that, Tim, no matter how much they might feel it in their heart.
See, now that's some bullshit.
And Bruce finally joins in.
I've been thinking about something you once told me. And you were wrong. It's not Batman that makes you worthwhile. It's the other way around. Never tell yourself anything different.
Thanks.
It only took him like 85 years to realize that that was important. And the story proves a point. It never worked that Bruce pushes his Robins away, because the bad guys still know that the Robins are Batman's weak spot. But Bruce uses the story to prove to himself that he shouldn't bond with anyone. Terry is really hard on himself and he idolizes Bruce. Tim also felt unappreciated and undervalued. It's almost as if that is caused by Bruce's behavior.
If there's one thing I've learned, you've got to appreciate the people in your life while you have the chance.
Barbara and Tim already knew this, but apparently Bruce had to get to his 80s before he learned that.
Better late than never, right?
Speaking of acknowledging that someone close to you is important to you, we need to talk about Jason. Now, to be in reverse chronology a bit, let's go back to the second Robin, Jason Todd. I find one of the more interesting examples of his dynamic with Bruce to be the story Under the Red Hood. The story works as a sequel to the horrible events of A Death in the Family, where Joker tortures and kills Jason under the hire of Ra's al Ghul. We see these events take place in a short flashback. The main story takes place 5 years later. A vigilante is targeting the criminal underworld with much more violence and brutality than Batman ever shows.
Those are the heads of all your lieutenants. That took me 2 hours. You want to see what I can get done in a whole evening?
Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
Specifically, he's targeting Black Mask. So Bruce, of course, investigates and eventually stops another theft on one of Black Mask's shipments, aided by my man, Dick.
Packs quite the punch for a toaster on steroids, huh? Need a hand?
No.
Yes, you do. Bruce still orders Dick around, even though he's not Robin anymore, and Dick still shows humility and praises Bruce, even though Bruce is being a butt.
I wouldn't be offended by a few suggestions.
He has the same weak points as a human being.
Got it.
The Red Hood! We're working for the Red Hood! We don't have any choice! He's got to...
The shots came from the rooftop. A sniper. Hey, wait! Right. Leave me with them.
Again! No respect. Bruce starts to suspect the Red Hood is Jason.
He's very good. He's got some moves, huh? And as much as I hate to belabor a point...
And still, that is often exactly what you do.
I'm chatty. It's part of my charm. I'm saying that our boy here has some skills. He's been trained, and trained well. Like right there. That. He sliced that cable off his ankle before it went taut. You don't just do that. That has to be practiced, learned.
And then there's the knife.
What about it?
You know many knives that can cut my lines?
Not many.
No, not many.
Yet another confrontation with Red Hood, where they momentarily fight together, ends with Red Hood killing one of their enemies, much to Bruce's horror.
Maybe that's what he has in mind.
Nice.
Red Hood presents his approach, claiming that Bruce's methods does not work, and at a certain level the criminals need to be taken out permanently. Bruce finally confirms that Red Hood is Jason, with a blood sample.
Oh no!
This prompts him to go to Ra's al Ghul, who confirms that he revived Jason in his pit of immortality. He did this as penance for causing his death in the first place, but it backfires as Jason is brought back in a admittedly slightly more aggressive variant.
I think I'm gonna go bananas! Do not go bananas! It's gonna happen! I'm gonna go bananas!
Boy. Do it.
To be fair, we see here that Bruce is just as hard on himself as he is his Robins.
I know that you view his death as your greatest failure, but...
His life and his death are my greatest failure.
But to be even more fair, he does have a point when he says,
He's taken everything I've ever taught him and turned it on me. It's a hell of my own making, Alfred.
So this is not your doing. You loved him. He knows that.
Does he though? Does he, Alfred?
Well, we'll see about that, won't we?
We shall see about that.
Yes, we will. We will see about that.
Black Mask then hires the Joker to go after Red Hood, which backfires. Who would have thought? And it's revealed that everything went according to Jason's plans, as his target was always the Joker.
The end game was getting Black Mask so desperate that he'd cut a deal. He was the only one with the connections to get into Arkham and get you out.
You can't trust anybody.
So, I've been bamboozled. Oh my.
He beats him up a little bit, but when Bruce shows up, the two of them fight, eventually ending back with the Joker. We learn that Jason's drive for this whole thing was that Bruce never avenged his death.
Bruce, I forgive you for not saving me. But why? Why on God's earth is he still alive?
Yes, there's also a shootout and a big explosion and yada yada yada, but as I see it, on a very basic level, Jason's motive is a lack of approval.
You're doing great, honey.
A lack of respect.
Respect.
Okay.
And a lack of love.
I love every person in this room.
Jason does not think that the way Bruce behaves show that he cared about him. Because if he did, would he feel the need to go through all of this for Bruce to prove how much he means to him?
And doing it because he took me away from you.
And what does it tell us about Bruce? That he taught Jason that the way you deal with pain and trauma is by going after the person who caused it with violence and revenge.
If it had been you that he'd beat to a bloody pulp, if he had taken you from this world, I would have done nothing but search the planet for this pathetic pile of evil death-worshipping garbage.
Calm down, hey.
Let's look at the takeaways again. 1. Bruce consistently pushes his allies away and treats them poorly. 2. Bruce's ego gets him into trouble again and again whenever he thinks that he can manage a situation on his own. All the Robins and Terry feel undervalued and are extremely hard on themselves. Bruce's tactics does not work. His enemy still consistently targets the Robins. When Tim gets hurt, Bruce is so guilt-ridden and he lets his hurt ego of failing blind him to what is important in that situation, taking care of Tim. And when Jason gets hurt, Bruce uses it as proof that he shouldn't bond with his partners.
But I realize now it's maybe kind of the opposite.
The reason Jason became Red Hood is because Bruce didn't show him how much he meant to him. Now, believe it or not, but Bruce in the animated series is actually one of the nicer ones. I picked this universe to give him the benefit of the doubt and his best possible chance of coming out looking good. But I just don't think he does. And his worst attribute, in my opinion, is his motivation to fight crime. And the entire premise that he builds his mission on. And nothing illustrates this better than the Mask of the Phantasm. This film shows two different points in time running parallel. One in flashbacks showing the early days of Bruce becoming Batman, and one in present time where he has already been Batman for several years. Both, however, center his romantic relationship to this woman,
Andrea Beaumont.
Andrea and Bruce meet at a graveyard, where Bruce is visiting his parents' grave and Andrea is visiting her mother's. And seriously, how dim-witted are you, Bruce?
Yes?
Excuse me. I thought you were saying something. Well, to me, I mean.
No.
Who are you talking to? Looking at that grave and talking to someone. Who are you talking to me? Did you say something to me? You idiot. No, she's talking to her mother. Anyway, apparently she likes stupid men because they start dating. On the sideline of dating her, he still continues to practice his Batmaning, but unfortunately, while his skills are good, the criminals do not fear him, so his conclusion is to get a scarier costume. Side note, this is part of the whole Batman thing. I just never bought that he looks scary. No.
Scary, scary, sexy.
And I want to point out a pattern that was already prevalent from the beginning. It's always more important to Bruce to catch the criminals than to show compassion to the victims. Back in present time, the story revolves around another vigilante, much more lethal than Batman, targeting criminals in Gotham. Again, something which Bruce, of course, investigates. By the way, how no one knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman is beyond me. Let me just stand here in my Batman costume and look at the Wayne gravestone. As Andrea returns to Gotham, Bruce does what any good guy does when he's interested in reconnecting with an old girlfriend.
Et un peu de sucre en poudre? No.
He uses his gadgets that he has because of his vast fortune to stalk her as she's having dinner with another man. Because he's a good guy. In another flashback, we see him and Andrea stumbling upon a biker gang assaulting a man. Bruce gets involved but loses the fight. And of course he leans on his attentive and caring girlfriend afterwards for emotional support.
Come on, let me have a look at you.
Andrea, please.
This man's ego. Later he ponders whether to give up the whole vigilante thing.
I can't put myself on the line as long as there's someone waiting for me to come home.
1, yes you can, and 2, Alfred has always been at home, waiting for you. But apparently doesn't count if it's not a girlfriend. We see him have an emotional conversation with his parents at the graveyard, where he reveals his motivation.
I don't want to let you down, honest, but it just doesn't hurt so bad anymore. You can understand that, can't you?
He was trying to avenge their deaths and make up for it, but he was aware the whole time that he could also just, use his money to do that.
I didn't count on being happy.
He literally can't imagine himself being happy and fighting crime at the same time, because he is fueled by grief and anger and revenge. He and Andrea momentarily gets engaged and Bruce seems to choose happiness. But as she leaves him suddenly, he is luckily reverted back to unhappy, able to be Batman. We learn that the reason Andrea left was that the group of criminals, and the Joker of course, targeted her and her family, and that they fled to stay alive.
You're gonna pay one way or another.
No, please. Give me one more day. I swear I'll get the money.
Dad, are you all right?
Pack a suitcase.
She's back, however, and the story repeats itself, with Bruce and Andrea dating again and Bruce getting the opportunity to be happy. And Alfred begging him to choose happiness this time. But whoopsie daisy! It's revealed that this vigilante, the Mask of the Phantasm, was actually, oh my god, what? Andrea herself? Who would have seen it coming? That the loved one from Bruce's past, who came back at the same time as a vigilante, was the same person?
They took everything, Bruce. My dad, my life, you.
There's a big confrontation with the Joker where she tries to kill him and Bruce tries to stop her and yada yada yada. Eventually Bruce says this.
But Andy, what will vengeance solve?
Which...
Are you kidding me?
At the end of the movie, Bruce lets Andrea leave. And it's funny how he's too ethical to kill, but not too ethical to let a literal serial killer go. We have another round of takeaways. Why is Bruce a crime fighter? Bruce is motivated by an urge to make his parents' death okay. He blames himself, and to make himself feel better, he swore to fight crime. Bruce is driven by his grief, because when he starts to feel it less, he starts feeling less driven.
Just doesn't hurt so bad anymore.
Bruce is aware that he has other means to fight crime.
Look, I can give money to the city, they can hire more cops, let someone else take the risk, but it's different now.
He has the financial resources that could help fund the police, but he chooses to fight in a much more physical way. I find all that extremely interesting, but also extremely unsympathetic. Bruce only wants to be Batman when he is unhappy. He has built his principle of not bonding with anyone not to protect them, but because he can't be happy and a vigilante at the same time. But I simply do not understand how he can come to that conclusion when he sees Dick. Because Dick is happy.
Doesn't it warm your heart to see everyone in the spirit of Christmas? Bah, humbug.
He has friends and girlfriends. He lets himself have fun, go somewhere in life, enjoy the fun aspects of fighting crime.
Now, I'm gonna need a charge.
How about Yahoo!
And he deals with his trauma and moves on. And yet, he is still motivated to fight crime. Because Dick is driven by compassion. That's why we see him take care of the victims while Bruce chases down the criminals. It's never the other way around.
Get the hostages out. I'll go after Dahl.
Right. Hang on, folks. I'll have you back to reality in a second.
Dick not only acknowledges his bond with Bruce by showing that he worries about him, he also offers his affection and he praises Bruce when Bruce does something impressive. And he respects him so much that he lets him give orders even when he doesn't necessarily need them. We see that Dick has reflected on his relationship with Bruce when he meets Tim.
You guys used to be the greatest. Batman and Robin, the dynamic duo.
Maybe you should ask him.
I did. And you'll never guess what he said. Things change.
Tim is going through the same thing, and Dick makes a choice to be different than Bruce. And Dick disproves everything that Bruce so firmly believed in. Dick's relationship does not cause serious damage, and before you mention Barbara and the Killing Joke,
I'm falling even more.
That happens because she's Gordon's daughter, not because she's Dick's girlfriend. We see the same thing in Batman and Mr. Freeze. The plot itself is not super important, but I want to point out a few things. We see Dick prioritizing his love life, and he still manages to be a successful vigilante. Mr. Freeze is trying to keep his wife alive. And when she needs an organ transplant, it just so happens that Barbara is a match because of her rare blood type. So he kidnaps her. Dick and Bruce eventually save her, though she holds up pretty well herself.
Why'd you kidnap me?
Later in the climax, when Barbara insists on doing something very dangerous, Dick does not question her competence or insist on doing it himself, because he respects and trusts her, despite being very worried for her.
You stay here.
You need me to show you where they are.
She's right. Robin, get the Batwing ready. If this place starts to blow, get out of here.
I won't leave without you. Go. We're running out of time.
And the story cements one of the points I've been trying to make. Barbara is kidnapped by chance, not because of her connection to Robin or because she's Batgirl. The moral of that should be that you can't protect yourself from being hurt by pushing people away. Going back to the Killing Joke, where Barbara is viciously targeted by the Joker, she is targeted to get to Commissioner Gordon. She becomes disabled as a result of the assault. Even then, Dick and Barbara insist on being happy. Barbara becomes Oracle and fight crime under the new terms of her life. And she and Dick eventually gets married. They both actively try to be happy and succeed while still being capable of fighting crime. Because they are not fueled by grief or hate, but by a genuine wish to make the world a better place. And judging by the way he acts in everything we've covered so far, I'm just left questioning if Bruce is. When Bruce does show compassion, he does so with money.
I'm begging you, throw some money at the problem and let's hit the road.
He finances Nora's recovery after the events of Batman and Mr. Freeze, and he helps the guy in old wounds get back on his feet, offering him a job as Bruce Wayne. And it's better than nothing, but still. And then there's all the small things. Because even on a lighter level, Dick is just so much more likable than Bruce is. He's respectful towards women.
Are you doing this?
Quiet! The lady asked you a question, creep. How about an answer?
He cares about the victims of the crime more than the perpetrators. He shows compassion for his loved ones.
I seem to be in a bit of a sticky situation, and I was wondering if you...
Come along easy, Gramps.
We don't want to hurt you.
I'm afraid I'll have to ring off now, sir. It seems I have unexpected guests.
Looks like he put up a struggle. Poor Alfred, he must have been petrified.
He is way hotter than Bruce is.
Something so trivial as looks.
And Dick is just so sassy and fun. Bruce is just such a nonce.
In London.
London, England?
There's only one Master Bruce.
Who are you talking to, miss? Here at the graveyard, looking at a gravestone. Let me just stand here in my Batman costume and look at the Wayne gravestone. And as far as respecting women, he literally uses treating women badly as a cover to appear to be that eternal bachelor. And the women he does date?
Andrea, please.
And he's so simple-minded and arrogant.
I doubt it. He was pretty formidable in his day.
Yeah, because good crime fighters never get scared. Side note, I love this scene where it looks like Bruce is punching away the smoke. I know it's his cape, but still. Seriously, would it kill you to have a little bit of fun, Bruce?
I heard your mother, now she's going out the door. Did she go to work or just go to the store? All those things she said.
Or at least not be so bitter when other people are having fun.
Don't leave me hanging on the telephone.
He's also just super judgmental. Like in Batman and Harley Quinn, he blackmails a guy that's into BDSM.
But for the record, what Mistress Ilsa does for me is considered therapy. In some countries.
Like a dick. No, like not a dick. Not like a dick. Dick, on the other hand, while sometimes judgmental,
just trying like hell to lead a normal life.
Really? Funny that you're not, say, using your psychiatric training to make a decent living. Instead of dressing up in skimpy red and black for minimum wage plus tips. Pretty weird way to kick a habit.
Check this out, smart guy. My pile of rejection letters. Evidently, the Mayo Clinic's got some dumb policy of not hiring former costume supervillains. Just like every other hospital in the world.
There are other jobs.
Oh, sure. I got a ton of offers. We got a very special role for you in Bad Girls After Dark. And you gotta love this one. A tasteful pictorial to be shot in Thailand for legal reasons.
in the end I just can't. I can't with Bruce. He's arrogant and grumpy. He has the ego of a presidential candidate, and he is never willing to learn from his mistakes. And you can't make the argument that his past justifies his behavior, at least not narratively, because Dick's life is a parallel to his. Same traumatic experience, same privileged upbringing after that, not only with enormous financial security, which is more than most orphans can say, but also a loving, tolerant, and doting father figure. The difference in their outlooks and the way they handle trauma and approach life is so obvious. Dick prioritizes fun and a rich social life. He chooses love. He's also distinctively less arrogant and proud, and he finds joy in work that must be not only depressing but also very stressful. He does not work less hard than Bruce does, and he is not less capable by any means, physically or intelligence-wise. If anything, he works harder because he also insists on working on his relationships and his education. And he also has the burden of having the grumpiest mentor ever.
Did you get what you needed?
Well, yeah. Evie's whereabouts, of course. That's what you meant. No, not yet. Like you never made out with a supervillain.
Who constantly bombards him with critique, giving him a rather warped perception of his own abilities. A mentor who almost never shows appreciation or acknowledges his skills and his support.
Could you just once say, "Let's get in the car"? Is that so hard?
So in conclusion, Dick is the best. I love Dick.